I just bought a new bike, obviously, a Honda CB750 K1, a 1971 I believe, came out. Just pulled a lot of stuff off it that I was going to chuck in the mail. I should have filmed a few bits and pieces that I chucked off it. The wiring loom was just completely butchered from one end to the other, so I decided to chuck that out. I was going to get a new one of these because this was cut up, so I re-welded that up. I think he'd cut it up, I think, to put a bigger battery in it, so I had the pieces. I could rebuild that. That particular thing was worth about 200 New Zealand dollars, so it wasn't worth redoing that. The mudguards on the back is rusty, and it wasn't worth redoing anything with that. The tail lamp holder was rusty, so I'm redoing that. New blinkers, they are rusty as well. This carrier, I may be able to get that re-chromed. It's not too bad. I've ordered new shocks. Here you can see this part of the wiring on the motor. All the tabs are missing. They've put box connectors on them instead. All this wiring is original. It's super hard. It's rock hard, so all this will have to be replaced. There was no breather on the rocker covers, so it was blowing oil all over the carburetors. They're just covered in mud. Also, when I put it on the trailer, I noticed the front end was a bit wobbly. This was broken, and to do it up and make it look good, probably to pass the road safety guys, he put a washer in there just so that it didn't pull off there. So there's that side broken, and this side broken. So it's got twin discs. So we're going to go back to single disc. They came out with single disc. They work as long as you're not putting them on a racetrack. The pipes were absolute trash. They were single straight pipes, 4x4, with no baffles on them. Just pretty much rubbish. I may be able to use the header pipes and build my own 4x1 or see what happens. If I buy a 4x1, that's only about $1,400 New Zealand. There was no front guard. There was just a plastic front guard that was put on by hose clamps. So the front guard and the rear guard, I think $1,600 altogether. These ears, chrome ears, I might have to paint these because they've got cracks, and so I'll have to weld up the cracks on there. So both side is cracked. I think the bottom part of this triple tree is okay. The frame's got to be sent away, and I'll get that sandblasted and powder coated. All the cables, I'll renew all the cables, all the electrics on the handlebars and the handlebars. That'll be all redone. It wasn't firing very well. It was only struggling to get onto 3 and 4. So there was a standard size coil there, and it was another coil that was so big they had to put it down here because it wouldn't fit in there. So it could be why it was firing on 1 and 3 probably, and not the 2 and 4. So I've ordered 2 new coils. All the wiring going to the coils was all loose, and it was a little bit crappy. Well, there's another one. There's the key. They got a tube to hold the key on. I'm pretty sure that's not how it's supposed to be. The headlight, I haven't got the base. The base was so mashed out I just chucked it away, but the headlight was glued onto the glass. And to get the bulb in, they put the bulb in from the inside and glued it onto the reflector. So I couldn't unglue that, and I couldn't get the glass out very well, so I decided to cut that to get the thing out. But I bought a whole new headlight, so if I don't need that glass anyway. I plucked it out. It's got silicon, glued in with silicon. It's so I do have the airbox. It's actually a good airbox. I'm happy with that. That'll shine up. I don't think it's got any paint on it. It's pretty original. There's your two different size coils that they had there. All this wiring on this stuff here, we'll have to see what I renew out of here. This it's pretty hard. And the ends on there, that's part that was going into those box connectors. They're all hard and they're full of oil. I'll have to think about that one. These are pretty rusty. Chuck those away. I'll buy some new ones of those. These carbs, when the bike wasn't going very well, when I tried to take these off, the rubbers are so hard that the carbs were flopping on the intake. And I think there's another reason why it wasn't running very well, was there's a lot of air coming in on the intake. That would have made it lean, but there's two cylinders that are also running rich, which is a bit strange. Now here I've got the tank, multi-colours of paint on. It's I did that with a file just to see how many coats of paint on it. Tank might have lived on a few extra bikes with it. Now here, there's a fuel tap there, but there's a fuel tap on the other side, and you see they've actually welded a pipe on there to put that fuel tap on, and they welded a pipe on this side for a fuel tap on this side. So what we might do is put a bung on that side, and then I'll see if I can get in the mill and mill up the oval hole with the two bolt holes on each side of it, and I'll weld the oval hole onto there. I mean, I'm not sure how thick that is that I can weld. If I start welding and make a mess, it could be a bit funny. If I go really slow with the TIG, we might be right. But the tap has got two fuel lines coming out of it. So on these carburetors, you have a fuel line coming out of there that tees into both carburetors, and a fuel line coming out of this one that tees into both carburetors. So the proper tap would be an advantage without having hoses, and without the original tap you don't have the filter screen in it either. You've got to run separate filters. The seat was, I needed a new cover for the seat. Well, that's pretty old and wiry, but the only trouble is this seat is a bit strange. It's got these little clips on here, and those clips are different to all the K1 seats, and I can't get a seat cover that's going to work on those clips unless you put that big what they call it, the corner edge molding on it. And I don't want a seat with edge molding. I want the seat with the nice trim around it. So seeing I couldn't get that, I ended up ditching the whole seat and bought a new one on eBay for I think $600, which wasn't too bad, I suppose. This is all New Zealand dollars I'm talking. To buy a $600 seat is 300, like, 300 US. Our dollar's not very strong. But we'll keep you up to date. I should have a big package coming. New rims, new spokes, new shocks. I'll sandblast and paint that. Powder coat the frame. There's new brakes, new brake hoses, new brake lines, new brake master cylinder, the 4-into-1 exhaust. I can't afford to have the 4-into-4 standard exhaust, so about 4,000 New Zealand dollars, 3,800 New Zealand dollars. That would make this bike a little bit too expensive. All the chrome on these is pretty knackered. Chrome on those is pretty knackered, so instead of re-chroming, it's cheaper to buy new ones of those than re-chrome it. It does have a little bit of an oil leak here, and I think that looks like it's coming out of the head gasket, I think, so I'm going to have to put a new head gasket in. I've ordered all the whole gasket kit. I can put gaskets in although there's a lot of oil underneath. I think the sump pan might have to come off in a new oil gasket on the sump pan. A few bits and pieces to be done. I got the receipts with it, and the guy's got receipt after receipt after receipt buying new plugs for it. You know, it's the way the motor was running that's wrecking these plugs, so he was going about it the wrong way. Never mind, I'll keep you up to date with the new project. It'll be a little while yet because to get the parts, they're coming from the Netherlands to New Zealand, probably, you know, could be a month and a half. See how it goes. Till next time.